unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up. We are not living in a safe country when we decide that we are going to weaken our national security by getting rid of those that are watching our nuclear stockpile, by giving everything over to a private friend known as Elon Musk. We are getting rid of all of the inspector generals. And so there's literally a lack of checks and balances all around us.
That, my friends, was Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett, who I would refer to as a racist, bigot, idiot. She absolutely is insane and should be welcomed with open arms to the squad. Folks, you had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. Two House Democrats, including prominent President Donald Trump critic Jasmine Crockett, which you just saw, suggested during a live stream on Tuesday that President's policy agenda is aimed at driving Black people back to the fields to the time of slavery. They've decided to go after immigrants and things like that and say, oh, they're taking your Black jobs. They're taking your Black jobs. Not really, Crockett told Reverend Franklin Hayes on Tuesday as part of the State of the People stream to counter Trump's address to Congress. There are obviously jobs they want us to go back to, such as working the fields. Those immigrants that come into our country work the fields, something that we ain't done in a long time. And clearly he's trying to make good for us to go back to the fields. Crockett suggests that Trump's goal is to send Black Americans back to the fields, was echoed by Democrat Representative Hank Johnson in the same video. It's a recipe to make education unavailable to Black people, Johnson said about Trump's plans for his education policy. It puts us back to when America was great and we were picking cotton and doing the productivity that they're putting my Latino brothers and sisters who migrate here to do that work because they're not suited intellectually to do it anymore. But they would like us back, confined to doing that work. We got to watch out for where we are headed. You couldn't make this shit up if you tried. It's the people that will save our democracy, that will stop this movement towards the past that Trump has us hurtling towards. Crockett's comments came shortly after she faced criticism from conservatives on social media after claiming that Trump is the enemy of the United States and a dictator, which you just saw, which I reported on actually on Tuesday's show. Crockett has become one of the most prominent faces of the Democrat pushback against Elon Musk's Doge efforts and recently said that if she could say anything to Musk, it would be fuck off. The comments from Crockett and Johnson were made just a few moments after Trump made historic strides with Black voters at the ballot box back in November. A new voter poll shows that Trump's crossover appeal to Democrat constituents was foundational to his success. He improved on his 2020 numbers among Hispanics, 41%. That's a plus 6 percentage points. Black voters, 15%. That's a plus 7 percentage. And young voters, 46%. That's a plus 10. These rightward shifts were particularly notable among Hispanic men, plus 8 percentage up, Black men plus 12 percentage up, and men under 30 plus 14 points up from what Trump had in 2020. Trump's strength with black voters was felt in Anson County, North Carolina, where the Republican candidate won there for the first time since the 1970s, and only the second time in more than 100 years. Trump received 50.9% of the vote compared to Harris's 4.8% for then Vice President Kamala Harris. Black residents make up 47% of the population in Anderson County. So, man, that was hard to listen to, wasn't it? How is it? Look, I don't care if you're Republican, conservative, liberal, Democrat. It doesn't matter to me. How can anyone, any human being on planet Earth, look at what Trump has done in the first 30 days in office, and out of that, come to the conclusion that Trump wants to take black people and put them back in the fields picking cotton? I challenge any liberal or Democrat to fucking explain that to me, please. Wow. It doesn't get any stupider than this. Democrats, liberals, you lost, majorly lost, in a massive red wave. You lost 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You lost the Senate. You lost the House. The House stayed to Republicans. Although that's teetering right now. We have a slim majority. I get that. But at the rate we're going, Democrats, with this kind of crap, guess what? Republicans are going to build on the House in midterms. Then Trump won not only the Electoral College, but the popular vote. One would think that Democrats would wake the fuck up and realize that this isn't the message. You're not connecting with the American people. It's not happening. This wasn't a close race. It was a fucking landslide. And you all are doubling down on stupid. After Trump's address to Congress, there was none less than like 11 Democrats that took to social media in videos slamming Trump's speech. It's full of racist bigotry and that he's a Nazi and that he's no different than Adolf Hitler, that he's a Klan member. He should just wear a white robe. I mean, it was ridiculous. The same things they were saying leading up to the election, which allowed Trump to win in a landslide, they're sticking to it. They're doubling down on it. I'm not the sharpest tool in the bunch, all right? I'm not the most intelligent man out there. But I could probably smoke some Hunter Biden crack and drink a fifth of Jack Daniels and still couldn't come up with an understanding of how stupid this Democrat Party is. Who's their leader? Who is keeping them in check? Nobody. They don't have a leader. It used to be Nancy Pelosi. Look, as much as I dislike Nancy Pelosi was good at one thing, that's for damn sure, and that is keeping the Democrats in lockstep with each other and what she said went. Period. That's not happening anymore. Nancy Pelosi is finished. And there was nobody to pick up the slack. Sure as hell isn't AOC or Anita Presley or Alihan Omar or Rashida Tlaib or Cory Booker or Adam Schiff. And it sure as hell isn't Jasmine Crockett. They don't have a leader. That's the problem right now. And they're fighting over who should be their leader. So, to the Democrats out there, keep on. Keep pushing this exact same narrative in the midterms. And I guarantee you, midterms will be another landslide for Republicans. Because the black people have woken up. Many Democrats have woken up and went, fuck this, I'm switching parties. And guess who was one of them? You're looking at him, former Democrat, for many, many years. And then when I watched the party get hijacked by liberal ideology, I woke the fuck up. And many, many Democrats are doing the exact same thing right now. They're watching this. The Hispanic Americans are leaving the Democrat Party. Black Americans are leaving the Democrat Party. Hell, Muslim Americans are leaving the Democrat Party. They're not going to have a party at all. In fact, right now, they have nothing but a bunch of idiot liberals following them. Now, not all liberals are idiots, just like not all Democrats are idiots. But come on, guys and girls. Stuck on stupid is not, should not be, your talking point. You're actually going to eliminate yourself from ever holding office again unless you come out with a plan that beats what we currently have under Republicans and you get the Democrats back on board. And get Republicans to go, I don't like what Trump's doing either. I think I'll go back to the Democrat Party. I would rather slam my penis in a sliding glass door than be a Democrat right now. Yeah. It's insane. So keep it up, Democrats. The only thing you really got left is the far left. And they're not the majority of this country. When the Democrats lose the black people, the Hispanic people, they come on board with the Republicans and the things that I've been saying all along. From the day that I started this show, hell, even going back before the Douglas Ducote Show, when I was doing the podcast on Real World Witness on Blog Talk Radio with Christy Piccolo, we were discussing it then, that how this Democrat Party has lost their way and that it's going to get worse before it gets better. Well, I don't know how worse it can get for the Democrat Party. I don't know how low you can possibly go from where you're at right now. You went from using a spoon to dig the hole, to a shovel to dig the hole, to a post hole digger for the hole. And now you have a backhoe. And once that backhoe arm can't go any deeper, I'm sure you guys are going to find a way to drop explosives down there to make that hole deeper. And I hope you do. Continue to push this liberal ideology. Continue to call Trump supporters, Republicans and conservatives, keep calling us all Nazis, equivalent to Adolf Hitler, Osama bin Laden. Keep calling us racist bigots, KKK members, white supremacists. Please keep doing what you're doing right now. Democrat Denver Mayor Mike Johnson is being blamed for giving violent illegal gangs and cartels a safe harbor due to the city's weak immigration laws. Mayor Johnson is one of 4 sanctuary city mayors who face a high-stakes hearing before the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform yesterday to address effects of those policies on their cities. I don't know if you watched it. I did. I suggest you go watch it after tonight's show or whenever you have some free time. It's sad, but it's also funny to watch them, to know that somebody was elected to be mayor that doesn't have the intelligence of a cup of coffee. When Representative Scott Perry of Republican Pennsylvania asked Johnson if he considers Denver a sanctuary city, he responded, "We don't use that definition." You don't use the definition, so you're not a sanctuary city? Perry asked. "We call ourselves a welcoming city," Mayor Johnson said. Perry then questioned what criteria they use to determine who they will welcome into the city. "Well, we're welcoming everybody. We don't keep folks out," Johnson answered. "So we're welcoming criminals that you don't have any idea of what their criminal background is? And you're good with that?" Perry questioned. "No, we're aggressively pursuing violent criminals," Johnson explained. One of the major issues plaguing the Mall City, along with neighboring Aurora, is the rise in the presence of the violent Venezuelan immigrant gang Tridiagra, known as the TDA gang. The illegal immigrant gang targeted Denver to be their American headquarters due to their weak immigration laws, Republican Colorado Representative Gabe Evans said in a statement yesterday. Evans explained that because of sanctuary state policies, public safety budgets have been cut to afford immigration influx, among other issues. Local hospitals have taken a hit. Denver schools are overwhelmed. Fentanyl is flooding into Colorado communities. Colorado is the 3rd most dangerous state in America, he said. As a police officer for over a decade in the metro area, I saw firsthand what was contributing to these problems, and a significant percentage of the blame lies on sanctuary cities and state policies that allow violent transnational criminal organizations and cartels to come into our community and find safe harbor. Evans added that the TDA gang members were also recently released from custody because of Colorado's sanctuary policies and not turned over to ICE. On Wednesday, the city of Denver released a video showing an ICE agent chasing down and arresting a TDA gang member who had just been released from jail. So ICE now knows who's in the jail, and they know when they're going to get released, and they know that the Democrat mayors have told the sheriff's office not to intervene, not to let ICE know. So they go and wait outside the jail for the guy or girl to be released. Due to the sanctuary city policies, this guy was released and then fled once he saw the ICE agents. ICE said he assaulted an agent while being taken into custody. Johnson reportedly reached out to ICE and is asking to sit down with them to discuss these procedures moving forward. Last April, Johnson announced $45 million in funding for programs to help deal with the skyrocketing number of migrant arrivals Denver is facing, resulting in over $8 million in budget cuts to their police department. So I know what Democrats and liberals are going to say. Doug, you're full of shit. There's no video of that. ICE wasn't waiting outside the jail for somebody to be released so they can take them into custody because they're not being turned over by the mayor. Well, let's watch, shall we? Now, there's no video. I mean, there's no sound. But here we go. It's a clusterfuck, as you can see, trying to take this guy into custody. Speed it up here a little bit so we can get to the end of it because it's very long. It's him wrestling around on the ground with this idiot. But eventually, they get him in cuffs and they bring a car up. There it is. They drag his little ass over there and throw him in it. And off he goes. Yeah. The $45.9 million package, which Johnson said was to fully fund programs for newcomers for 2024 and avoid worst case scenario projected by the city, was in addition to the $44 million in spending already secured for the program through previous budget moves, aka cuts from the police force. A spokesperson for Johnson office previously rejected descriptions of the cuts as defunding the police, and the 1.9% cut was less than the average of 2.5% cuts to all city agencies. The cuts would have no impact on public services and resulted in no officers being taken off the streets, the spokesperson said. The city of Denver's adjustment to the Denver Police Department's budget was carefully crafted with safety leaders and Mayor Johnson to ensure there would be no impact to the department's public services. And no officers will be taken off the streets, the spokesperson said. And that person's name, by the way, is Jordan Fuja, F-U-J-A. Sounds maybe Hawaiian. In January, the Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, arrested 50 illegal aliens, many of whom were tied directly to the TDA gang, which the Trump administration now classifies, thank God, is a foreign terrorist organization. Johnson previously pledged to resist Trump's immigration policies and emphasized Denver's commitment to protecting illegal immigrants and maintaining its sanctuary city status, saying it would not be bullied. We're not going to sell out those values to anyone, Johnson told the Denver newspaper in a previous interview that he did. We're not going to be bullied into changing them. When asked if he was prepared to go to jail for standing in the way of policies enacted by the current administration, Johnson said he was not afraid of that. Yeah, I'm not afraid of that. And I'm also not seeking that, Johnson told the paper. I think the goal is we want to be able to negotiate with reasonable people on how to solve hard problems. I'll tell you how you solve hard problems. Illegal immigrants that are in your jail, not only are they're not even there because they're illegal, because you're a sanctuary city. That's not why your police arrested them. They were arrested for the crimes that they committed against your citizens. And then, oh, they happen to be an illegal alien too. You don't give a shit about the people in your community. Anyone that's okay with sanctuary cities does not care about the violence that is being perpetrated against women and children and even men. They don't care. And this is obvious because after the guy served time for the violent crime that he committed, and it may have not been a violent crime. He could have robbed someplace or held someplace up or pickpocketed somebody. I don't know. But regardless, he went to jail because he's a criminal in your jail, in your sanctuary city. And then when it was time to be released, instead of notifying ICE, you just let him walk out the damn door. Well, guess what? ICE now is fully aware of that. The federal government trumps state and local governments, you idiots. So we know who's in the jail that's an illegal alien, and now they're in the jail because they're a criminal. They weren't arrested in a sanctuary city for being illegal. Is the light bulb going off yet? Your cops didn't arrest them because they're illegal. That's a crime. They arrested them because of the crime they committed while being illegal in your city. I don't know if it gets dumber than this. No, you know damn good and well it gets dumber than this, don't you? The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services served a notice of violation to the state of Maine on February 25th, just recently, and declared the state has violated Title X by allowing trans athletes to compete in girls' sports. According to the notice, the Maine Department of Education is violating Title X by denying female student athletes an equal opportunity to participate in athletics by allowing male athletes to compete against female athletes in current and future athletic events. The notice also states that if the violations are not corrected, a referral will be made to the Department of Justice. Don't threaten them with doing that. Just fucking do it. Same thing with these mayors in the sanctuary cities. Don't threaten them with the Department of Justice. Arrest them. for harboring an illegal alien. And if they were a gang member, a terrorist, which they're now labeled as. Law enforcement has complete and utter control to arrest them and take them into custody. The mayors, the city council members, and even the governor of a state, aka Maine, that we're talking about here. Notice came aimed a feud between President Donald Trump and Maine's Governor Janet Mills over the state's refusal to comply with the president's February executive order to keep biological males out of women and girls sports. The state has been called ground zero in the national battle over banning and protecting trans exclusion in women's sports after state lawmaker Laurel Libby made a social media post pointing out a trans athlete who won a girls' pole vaulting competition. If Maine Democrats continue to double down on allowing biological males to participate in girls' sports, our students stand to lose hundreds of millions of dollars of federal funding, because Trump has made an executive order that if you violate Title 10 and you do not correct that, then guess what? You do not get funds from the federal government anymore. That should be enough to make them wake up. But it's not. But arresting them will send a message. Governor Mills and legislative Democrats have a renewed opportunity to do the right thing to ensure restored funding and a fair and level playing field for the girls of Maine. Libby told Fox News Digital in response to the news of the determined violation. I appreciate the Trump administration's swift and decisive action, and will continue to stand firm with our shared mission of upholding the rights of Maine women and girls. Libby's relevation on the Trans Athlete Ignite national conversation and coverage of the state's policies on trans exclusives after Maine announced it would not comply with Trump's executive order. Let me remind you, federal law trumps state and local law. Trump then vowed to cut funding to the state for refusing to follow his order during a gathering of governors at the White House. So, you may have seen this. If you haven't, you're going to see it right now, because this is classic Trump. I wish that this mayor would have said more stupid shit. I really do. Because the dumber you get, the more Trump talks. And when Trump talks, you need to be paying a little bit of attention.
People in the country, but they have to come in legally. 2 weeks ago, I signed an executive order banning men from playing in women's sports. Many Democrats are fighting me on that. I hope you continue, because you'll never win another race. And it's just crazy. If you look at what happened with the boxing, if you look at what happened with the weightlifting numbers, where a record that hadn't been broken for 19 years got shattered. But, you know, they put up an eighth of an ounce here, an eighth of an ounce there on his 218 pounds or whatever it was. And hadn't been broken in 19 years. And then guy walks up who transitioned. He transitioned and he knocked out that record by about 100 pounds. That would be a record not going to be broken again in a long. So we put a ban on it, and to protect women. I mean, the women, if you watch the Olympics, you had two transitioned people that were fighting in the women's boxing. They have women's boxing category. And if you saw that, it was brutal. What happened to the Italian woman was a really good boxer. After one punch, she said, no more. I've never been hit. It was a left. It was not even a It's just a left jab. She got hit so hard, she said, I can't do it. They forced her to go out. No, go out again. You'll do it. Goes out again, gets hit again. No, that's it. She didn't want to die. And that's crazy, but the NCAA has complied immediately, by the way, that's good. But I understand Maine, is the Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Here we go.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Every state has a responsibility to comply with Title IX. They have an obligation, a legal obligation, and we'll be enforcing aggressively, and we're going to be protecting our citizens. We're going to protect. So just to end this admin.
He called it Title IX. I think it's called Title 10, but I might be wrong. One of us is wrong. I'm going to have to look it up again. Anyhow, one day later after that, Mills' office responded with a statement threatening legal action against the Trump administration if he did withhold federal funding from the state. How stupid can you get? Federal law trumps state and local law all over the United States of America. You can spend all the money you want from the people that voted you into power. You're just pissing it away because you're not going to win. You cannot violate on purpose, and God knows this is on purpose, federal law. I don't know, folks. I don't get it. I don't understand how there are American citizens that vote for these type of incompetent idiots and don't, maybe you didn't know that they were incompetent idiot. Maybe you weren't paying any attention to what they were saying when they were running for office. And it came time to vote, and you just went and you voted Democrat because, oh, that's what you've always done all your life. That's what your parents did. That's what your grandparents did. Oh, so you just went and voted. You didn't know. Well, now it's all over all the newspapers, all the news, local news, mainstream news, social media. Now you know what you elected if you didn't know before. So it's time for the people of Maine to get together a petition to remove these people from office. It's also time for the President of the United States, who is the head law enforcement officer, if you didn't know that already, Miss Governor of Maine, to direct his Department of Justice to put your ass in handcuffs and take you the fuck away. That's what I want to see done by this current administration. Stop talking. Stop threatening. That doesn't work with these people. They're mentally not there with the majority of the American people. Put them in jail. House lawmakers have voted to censor Representative Democrat Al Green of Texas. after he was thrown out of President Donald Trump's address to a joint session of Congress on Tuesday night, as you all watched. Well, the Democrats thought that they would all stick together, and many of them are, saying that they only kicked him out and they're only censoring him because he's a black man. That's what's coming out of the mouth of AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Anita Presley, Rashida Tlaib, Jasmine Crockett, Cory Booker, because he's a black man. Well, not so fast, because 10 Democrats and liberals, that's the number right after 9 and before 11. 10, let me hold it up for you. This is 10, not 8 and 2 thumbs. This is 10. We need to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know this sounds stupid to you, but what you're doing and what you're saying makes us think we have to go to that kind of level to get it across to you. So 10 Democrats join Republicans in voting to censor Al Green. Green himself voted present along with first-term Representative Shamar Figures, Democrat, Alaska. Al Green's childish outburst exposed the chaos and dysfunction within the Democrat Party since President Trump's overwhelming win in November and his success in office this far. It is not surprising 198 Democrats refused to support Green's censor, given their history of radical inflammatory rhetoric fueled by Trump derangement syndrome, House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, Republican, Minnesota, said. Before the formal censure could be read out to Green, however, Democrats upended House floor proceedings by gathering with the Texas Democrat, you ready for this? And singing out loud, "We shall overcome." Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican, Louisiana, was forced to call the House into a recess after failing multiple times to get the Democrats to stop their singing. Decorum eroded further afterwards, with several Democrats, including squad member Representative Anita Presley, Democrat, Massachusetts, engaging in a heated exchange with Republicans, including first-term Representative Ryan McKenzie, Republican, Pennsylvania. The 10 Democrats who voted to censor Green, or that voted along with the Republicans, are Representative Amy Bree, Democrat, California. That's a shocker. Ed Case, Democrat, Hawaii. Jim Costa, Democrat, California. That's another shocker. Laura Gillen, Democrat, New York. That's a big shocker. Jim Himes, Democrat, Connecticut. Christy Holohan, Democrat, Pennsylvania. Marcy Couture, Democrat, Ohio. Jared McCoswit, Democrat, Florida. Marie Glossenkip Perez, Democrat, Washington. And Tom Schultz, Democrat, New York. Republicans raced to introduce competing resolutions to censor Green on Wednesday, with 3 separate texts being drafted within hours of each other. Dan Newhouse, Republican, Washington, whose resolution got a vote on the House floor this morning, had reached out to Johnson about a censored resolution immediately after Trump's speech ended on Tuesday, when Al did his stupid stunt. Meanwhile, the House Freedom Caucus had amend to make good on a threat to censor any Democrat who protests Trump's speech. And Representative Troy Nellis, Republican Texas, crafted his own censored resolution against Green that got more than 30 House GOP co-sponsors. But Newhouse took to the House floor on Wednesday afternoon to deem his resolution privileged, a maneuver forcing House leaders to take up the bill within 2 legislative days. President Trump's address to Congress was not a debate or a forum. He was invited by the Speaker to outline his agenda for the American people. The actions by my colleagues from Texas broke the rules of decorum in the House, and he must be held accountable. A bid by House Democrats to block the resolution for getting a vote failed yesterday, and Green himself voted present. The 77-year-old Democrat was removed from Trump's joint address to Congress on Tuesday night after repeatedly disrupting the beginning of the president's speech. He shouted, "You have no mandate," at Trump as he touted Republican victories in the House, Senate, and the White House. Johnson had Green removed by U.S. Sergeant at Arms. It was a part of a larger issue with Democrat lawmakers on Tuesday night, with many engaging in both silent and vocal acts to protest against Trump. Democrats were also shielded for not standing up to clap when Trump designated a 13-year-old boy who has brain cancer, who's Black, as an honorary Secret Service agent. The House Speaker publicly challenged Democrats to vote with Republicans in favor of the censorship today. Despite my repeated warnings, Al Green refused to cease his annex, and I was forced to remove him from the chamber, Johnson posted on X. He deliberately violated House rules. An expeditious vote to censor is an appropriate remedy. Any Democrat who is concerned about regaining the trust and respect of the American people should join House Republicans in this effort. Green, who shook Newhouse's hand before speaking out during the debate of his own censor, stood by his actions on Wednesday. I heard the Speaker when he said that I should cease. I did not. And I did not with intentionality. It was not done out of a burst of emotion, Green said. You can lie all you fucking want, okay? We all watched what you did. I think that on some questions of consenting, you had to be willing to suffer the consequences. And I have said I will. I will suffer whatever the consequences are, because I don't believe that in the richest country in the world, people should be without good health care. Other lawmakers censored on the House floor in the past have been Representative Rashida Tlaib, go figure, former Representative Jamel Bowman, go figure, and now Senator Adam Schiff, Democrat, California. And Alejandro Mar was supposed to be censored for all the negative things that she was saying about veterans and about Jewish people, but that was back when the Democrats were in charge of everything, and Nancy Pelosi wouldn't allow it to happen. President Trump called for MSNBC hosts Nicole Wallace and Rachel Maddow to resign over their comments about the 13-year-old brain cancer survivor who was Black, featured in his address to Congress. While taking questions in the Oval Office on Thursday, this morning, Trump was asked whether Democrats are out of touch with the American people over various snap polls showing a majority of viewers approved of his speech. I thought it was very embarrassing for the Democrats what happened the other night, Trump said. Even CNN fake news said that. They came out and said just that. And worse than CNN is MSDNC. And the good news is very few people watch them anymore. And that is true. And I've told you right here on this program that in our lifetime, we're going to see MSNBC close their doors. In fact, I think it's going to happen in the next year. They've lost such credibility. He then took aim at the liberal host over their comments about Trump suppressing DJ Daniels, the young black aspiring police officer with brain cancer, by making him an honorary Secret Service agent. Frankly, what Nicole Wallace said, I've never been a fan of hers, and she's not very talented, but I will tell you what she said the other day about the young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign, Trump said. And Rachel Maddow should be forced to resign. Nobody watches her anyway. I don't understand why they're paying her millions of dollars when nobody's watching her. But certainly she's lost all credibility. But what they said the other day, they should be forced to resign. What they said about that young boy who is suffering greatly, Trump said. Wallace was slammed by remarks during MSNBC's post-address coverage when she linked the young boy to the January 6th debacle and suicide of Capitol police officers. But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel, Wallace said Tuesday night. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years. And I hope he lives the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer, she continued. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carry out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people. Maddow called Daniels' inclusion in Trump's speech disgusting, accusing the president of making a spectacle of the young boy's illness as if he had anything to do with his recovery. This was the mildest of him praising the Department of Government Efficiency, Maddow said. The Doge cuts, among other things, had cut off funding of ongoing research into pediatric cancer. The comments ignited sharp commendation across social media. Last night, MSNBC's Nicole Wallace disgustingly looped at a 13-year-old boy with brain cancer into an attack on the president over January 6th, White House Press Secretary Leavitt said during Wednesday's press briefing. It's sad and frankly pathetic that Democrats and liberals in a legacy media continue to allow their hatred for the president to override their love for the country, she said. Look, keep going, Democrats. Please, don't stop now. I want you to continue because I, as a former Democrat, would like nothing more than to watch that party implode, and imploding it is. The Hamas terror group today dismissed President Donald Trump's latest threat and refused to release more Israeli hostages without a permanent ceasefire deal in the Gaza Strip. Hamas spokesperson said the best path to free the remaining Israeli hostages is through negotiations on a second phase of the ceasefire agreement. The first phase of the ceasefire, which lasted 42 days, ended this past Saturday. A second phase was supposed to begin as early as February, though only limited preparatory talks have been held so far. Hamas' response comes after Trump met with 8 former hostages in Washington and posted what he called a last warning to Hamas on his Truth Social platform yesterday. Shalom Hamas means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Release all the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you. Trump added that he is sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job, and that not a single Hamas member will be safe if you don't do as I say. Also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits you, but not if you are participating with Hamas holding hostages. If you do, you are dead, Trump wrote. Make a smart decision. Release the hostages now, or there will be hell to pay later. Hamas is believed to still be holding 24 living hostages that were taken in the October 7th, 2023 attack that led to the ongoing war that is happening now. It is also holding the bodies of 34 others who were either killed in the initial attack or while in captivity, as well as the remains of a soldier killed in the 2014 war. Hamas terrorists killed some 1,200 people, mostly civilians, in the October 7th attack and took a total of 251 people hostage. Most have been released in ceasefire agreements or other arrangements. Israeli forces have rescued 8 living hostages and recovered the bodies of dozens of others. Well, I'm going to predict that no later than this coming Sunday, massive shock and awe is about to take place in Gaza. Massive. And look, here's the deal. How many Palestinians are there? And how many Hamas members are there? For every 10,000 Palestinians, there's one Hamas member. So if you're not willing to band together and take out these terrorists yourself, then die. Fucking die. That's how I feel. Because that makes you a terrorist. And in closing tonight, a very sad story. And if you have college-age children and they're heading to spring break, please let them know about this, because it could mean the difference in life or death. 12 college students that are in Mexico vanished. 12. They were all together. They vanished from their hotel. Police are out trying to find them. And they finally found them today. Chopped into pieces. It was 10 girls and 2 boys. They're dead. The cartel cut them into pieces. Chopped off their arms, their legs, their heads. If you allow your kids to go to Mexico, or you go to Mexico on vacation, please know that you're not safe anywhere. These kids didn't go to the bad parts of Mexico. They didn't go to where the cartels were running rapid. No, they went to resort areas, just like many Americans still go and do. So if you're an American and you're down vacationing in Mexico, I'm sorry. If something happens to you, I'm not going to shed a tear because you brought it upon yourself. You've been warned by thousands and thousands and thousands of news reports of what's happening in Mexico. And now these innocent college students on spring break are dead, chopped into pieces. For what? Yeah. Tonight was our first official full program. Tuesday was the first actual program not on YouTube to be live, but tonight's the first full program where we went the full hour. Actually, we went 3 minutes over. And we're on Rumble and X, formerly Twitter, and LinkedIn, on our live program. And we will only be going back to the live program on our YouTube channel if they wake the fuck up and stop censoring people like myself. Until we can come to some type of an agreement, fuck YouTube. And fuck you if you continue to support them. Don't support them. Seriously. Don't do it. Anything that you can see on that Nazi censorship program called YouTube, platform called YouTube, you can see on Rumble where they care about conservatives and Republicans. YouTube does not. YouTube is owned by Google, and Google is the enemy of we the people. You got to be in a place you can be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you very, very much for tuning in to tonight's show. I'll be back next Tuesday for another live broadcast. If anything breaks between now and then, I will do a live program about that, or I put out a video about it. Just so you know, my YouTube channel is still there, and I will still put up a video or two there because that's the only thing that will allow me to monetize. And that's depending on what I talk about. If I talk about COVID or I talk about the vaccine, even legitimate stuff coming from doctors that I speak with, and if you don't know this, all of my family's in the medical field, to include my wife, then it doesn't get monetized. For the most part, my regular videos will. So I hope, and it's my plan, that one day in the future, things are going to change on the YouTube platform. And when that happens, I'll be the first person to let you know. And then and only then will I continue to do the live show there. If there's breaking news, I will go out live on my YouTube channel as well as Rumble and X. But the normal show on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central that YouTube does not allow to be monetized is no longer going to happen until they stop this bullshit. And I'm on a path with my members of Congress and other YouTubers that have been censored like I have to bring this up to Congress and get it addressed. Just like you saw done in the past with Facebook and with, at that time, Twitter. And there's a lot of things in the works that you don't know about with YouTube. I don't have time to go into all that. But if they decide to clean up their act and stop acting like Nazis and that acting like we're the Jews, then I go back. Or if Elon Musk buys them out, I go back. Let me give you a little hint. Right now, Republicans in Congress are attempting to break up Google. That's right. Because they're realizing what people like me have been saying for a long, long time. Google owns YouTube. What goes around comes around. And there's going to be change. I promise you. These people are going to fucking pay. I promise you. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, and their families. Our angel families, our blue and gold star families in our country. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless each and every one of you. And I'll see you back here on Tuesday night for another live broadcast of the Douglas Ducote Show. Thank you for your support. Thank you for jumping ship from YouTube and coming to Rumble and X to follow this program. I can't thank you enough. If I could shake your hand, I would do it to every single one of you. It's very important that I'm able to get my voice out there and share with American patriots factual information about what is happening inside our country. Good night, everybody.